One day, Arthur was shunting freight cars in the yard. Just as Arthur was having a drink at the water tower, Diesel oiled in. "Hello, Arthur," said Diesel. "Saw you shunting cars this morning." Arthur didn't know what to say about Diesel's attitude. "Anything steam engines can do, we Diesels love shunting cars." At last, Arthur lost patience. "Shunting is real work," said Arthur. "Without us engines, there'll be no way for the mainline engines to pull freight cars and coaches." "Oh yeah?" oiled Diesel. "We'll see about that, Arthur." And he oiled away. Diesel had been called into goods work, while Arthur was sulking in the shed for the rest of the day. Soon, Diesel was assigned to take the express. This made Gordon furious. "Diesels can't pull the express," said Gordon. "I just know it." "We run this island," said James. "Not smelly Diesels." "Well, that's not true," said Diesel. "I've never been pulling passengers before, so here I am." And Diesel oiled to the next station. The next day, Diesel oiled into the station when the station master came up. "Diesel," said the station master, "can you collect some coaches from the yards? These passengers are waiting to get on board the train." "Yes, sir," squirmed Diesel. And he oiled out of the yard. When Diesel arrived at the shunting yard, he didn't know where the express coaches were. When Diesel looked toward the siding, he saw the express coaches. "Now for my plan," oiled Diesel. And he rolled forward toward the coaches. Then there was trouble. As Diesel got closer and closer to the coaches, he biffed into the coaches. Some of the coaches came off the rails, including Diesel. "Grease and oil!" Diesel cried. "I'm off!" And he was. The yard manager was very cross when he saw the coaches off the line and Diesel on his side. "This is unacceptable behavior, Diesel," said the yard manager. "You bumped into the coaches and you derailed yourself while shunting." "Where's the breakdown train?" Diesel groaned. "Unfortunately to you," said the yard manager, "the breakdown train's not coming. You will stay here until we know what to do." Diesel was ashamed. That afternoon, Arthur arrived with the breakdown train. Instead of feeling sorry for Diesel, he teased him. "Fancy getting derailed with your coaches, eh, Diesel?" laughed Arthur. But Diesel didn't say anything. He felt embarrassed. A few minutes later, the coaches were lifted back onto the line. Soon, Diesel was loaded on Arthur's flatbed, and together they set off to the works. When Arthur brought Diesel to the works, Sir Topham Hatt was waiting for them. He was not happy with Diesel. "Diesel," said Sir Topham Hatt, "explain yourself." "I collided with the express coaches, sir," said Diesel. "I was supposed to bring them to the station, but I came off the rails." "Well, Diesel," said Sir Topham Hatt, "we cannot allow it on my railway. You're going back to the other railway first thing in the morning." Diesel felt very ashamed. The next day, when Diesel was fully repaired, the other engines came to say goodbye to Diesel. "You won't be missed, Diesel," laughed James. "It serves you right for causing trouble at the shunting yard," chuckled Arthur. With that, Diesel sulked slowly away. Gordon enjoys pulling the express. He was proud of this and loves to prove himself to be a really useful engine. That night, when Gordon squeaked into Tidmouth Sheds, he was worried. "Thank goodness everyone's asleep tonight," said Gordon. But not everyone was asleep. They instead laughed at Gordon, which made him uncomfortable. The next day, Sir Topham Hatt arrived. "Today," said Sir Topham Hatt, "Alicia Botti, the world's famous opera singer, is coming to visit Sodor for her concert this weekend. I need an engine to collect Alicia Botti." "I'll do the job, sir," said Gordon. "Very well, Gordon," said Sir Topham Hatt. "She'll be waiting for you at the station." "Pah," said Gordon. "She's just a coloratura." "What does cauliflower have to do with opera singers?" laughed Percy. "A coloratura," said Gordon. "It's a person who sings high notes very, very loud. Now, I don't have time to stay in the sheds to talk to you, Percy. I must go at once." So Gordon steamed out of Tidmouth Sheds. Soon, Gordon arrived to pick up Alicia Botti. "Good morning, Miss Botti," said Gordon. "You do look stunning." "Why, thank you, Gordon," said Alicia Botti. "You're a very kind engine." Soon, Alicia Botti boarded the train. And soon, Gordon steamed away for the concert. Soon, Gordon was speeding through the countryside. He was very pleased of himself. He was sure that he wouldn't squeak again now, but he was wrong. As Gordon sped down the hill, he noticed that his wheels were squeaking again. "Father," said Gordon, "now my wheels are squeaking again. I don't want Alicia Botti to hear my squeak, otherwise she would think there's a mouse on board." Alicia Botti heard the noise from out the window. "Is there a problem, Gordon?" asked Alicia Botti. But then Gordon had an idea. "Oh," said Gordon, "maybe, just maybe, if I slow down, Alicia Botti won't hear my squeak." So Gordon started to slow down. Emily noticed how Gordon was going so slow, so Gordon decided to talk to Emily. "Hello, Gordon," said Emily. "I saw you going slow today. Are you the slowest engine on Sodor now?" "Well, Emily," said Gordon, "if I go fast, my wheels will squeak, so I have to slow down. And I have got a very important passenger on board. And I don't want Alicia Botti to think there's a mouse in my coaches.
Oh, I see, said Emily. Maybe you should go very slow. That way, Alicia Botti wouldn't get nervous.
Soon, Gordon puffed slowly away. But Alicia Botti was cross. She leaned out the window and spoke severely to Gordon. "Gordon," said Alicia Botti, "why are you slowing it down? I'll be late for my concert." "I can't go any faster, Miss Botti," said Gordon. "If I go fast, you'll hear my squeak. I think we're gonna have to stop now." "But why?" said Alicia Botti suspiciously. But Gordon didn't answer. And a few minutes later, he stopped. "Gordon, why did we stop?" asked Alicia Botti. "It's no use, Miss Botti," said Gordon. "I can't take you to the concert now. We have to wait for another engine to take you instead of me." And soon Gordon asked his driver to telephone for another engine. And soon, Toby and Henrietta arrived. So Toby pulled up alongside Gordon. Alicia Botti was thrilled. "Oh, a little tram engine," said Alicia Botti. "So sweet. Can you take me to the concert, Toby?" "Of course, Miss Botti," said Toby happily. Alicia Botti climbed into Henrietta, and Toby steamed off to the concert. Gordon said goodbye to Alicia Botti as Toby left. Sir Topham Hatt arrived with Arthur. He was very confused. "Gordon," said Sir Topham Hatt, "why did you stop?" "Please, sir," said Gordon, "I made a squeaking noise, so Toby took Alicia Botti and I don't know what to do now." "If your wheels are squeaking," said Sir Topham Hatt, "you must go to the works right now so you can have your wheels oiled." So Gordon was uncoupled from his express coaches, and he chuffed slowly away to the works. "Arthur," said Sir Topham Hatt, "you can take the coaches back to the carriage sheds." "Yes, sir, right away, sir," said Arthur. Soon Gordon's wheels were oiled, and when the concert was finished that evening, he went to collect Alicia Botti. "Time to go home, Alicia Botti," said Gordon. "You're not squeaking anymore, aren't you, Gordon?" asked Alicia Botti. "Of course not," said Gordon. "Time to go to Brenham Docks, ma'am." So Alicia Botti boarded Gordon's special coach, and Gordon set off to the docks. And for some time afterwards, there was no more squeaky wheels. Percy and Arthur were good friends. They enjoy shunting cars and pull freight.
Percy enjoys taking the mail train.
And Arthur enjoys working at the fishing village.
One day, Sir Topham Hatt spoke to Percy and Arthur.
Percy and Arthur, I want you two to work at the shunting yard today, said Sir Topham Hatt. Edward is coming to collect a very important goods train this afternoon, so I want you to shunt the correct freight cars into place.
Yes, sir, said the engines. We will, sir.
Later that day, Thomas was taking the mail train.
Percy and Arthur were very surprised when Thomas stopped by. Hello, Thomas, said Percy. You look very exhausted today. I am, Percy, said Thomas. Sir Topham Hatt has asked me to take the mail train while you shunt with Arthur to fetch some freight cars for Edward. Thomas, when is Edward coming? Asked Arthur. He'll be here as soon as you finish shunting freight cars into place, said Thomas. I can't stop to talk right now. I have parcels to deliver.
And soon, Thomas puffed away.
Now then, Arthur, said Percy, let's go to work.
First, Percy shunted the tar tanker into place.
Hey, Arthur, said Percy, where are the other freight cars?
Soon, Arthur was shunting 2 fuel tankers into place.
Hi, Percy, said Arthur as he stopped. Well, Arthur, said Percy, our work here is done.
Don't we need a brake van? Asked Arthur.
No, Arthur, said Percy. Edward doesn't need a brake van because he's a back engine.
If you say so, said Arthur. And soon, Arthur pushed the fuel tankers into the tar tanker. Percy was very happy.
Well done, Arthur, said Percy. Edward will be here in a few minutes, said Arthur.
And soon, Edward arrived to collect his goods train.
Hello, Percy. Hello, Arthur, whistled Edward. Sir Topham Hatt sent for me to take these tankers. Well, Edward, said Percy.
You're free to go, declared Arthur. Thank you, Arthur, said Edward. I can go now. And soon, Edward puffed proudly away. Just then, the yard foreman appeared. He was not impressed. Edward needed his brake van, said the foreman. And now he forgot it. Arthur, I want you to fetch the brake van right now. Both of the engines were shocked. Right, sir, said Arthur. I'll get the brake van right now. Meanwhile, Edward was steaming proudly through the countryside. Such a splendid day, said Edward. All in good time. But Edward was wrong. Suddenly, he realized that he left the brake van at the shunting yard. Driver, cried Edward, we forgot the brake van. We must stop immediately. Edward's driver applied the brakes. Sparks flew from his wheels and landed onto some tankers. What happened? Cried Edward. Edward! Cried Gordon. Your train's on fire! Oh no! Cried Edward. His driver quickly got out of Edward's cab, and soon he quickly uncoupled Edward from his burning train. And soon, Edward raced away like the wind, just in time. As soon as Edward was gone, one of his tankers flew off the rails and exploded.
When Percy and Arthur collected the brake van, they noticed Edward returning to the shed. He was not happy. "Percy and Arthur!" shouted Edward. "You were supposed to bring the brake van over to me before I left, and now my train's on fire, so Sir Topham Hatt's going to be cross with me." "Sorry, Edward," apologized Arthur. "We're in trouble now," said Percy. "If only I'd taken the mail and Thomas shunted freight cars for you." That evening, when Percy and Arthur arrived back at the station, Sir Topham Hatt was very annoyed. "Percy and Arthur," said Sir Topham Hatt, "I thought I told you to bring the brake van over to Edward. Both of you should have listened to me." "Yes, sir," apologized the tank engines. "Here's what will happen tomorrow," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Maybe, just maybe, you can switch jobs with Thomas, Percy," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Yes, sir," said Percy. "And Arthur, you can shunt freight cars with Thomas at the yards tomorrow." "Yes, sir," said Arthur. "I'll shunt cars with Thomas instead of Percy tomorrow." "Okay, Arthur," said Sir Topham Hatt. "I will make the arrangements first thing tomorrow." And with that, Percy and Arthur felt very content. It was an important day on Sodor, and all the engines want to be clean, shiny, and splendid. One day, a very important goods train had arrived from the mainland. One day, the engines were discussing who would pull the very important goods train. All the engines wanted to be chosen, except Percy. "Driver says this goods train is nothing special than the mail train," said Percy. "And I suppose James doesn't like pulling goods train," said Thomas. "Maybe he should pull it next year." "Me," said James. "I thought you said goods trains were important, Thomas." "I'd rather be shunting freight cars than pulling dirty goods trains," said Gordon. "Say aye." "Aye," said Thomas, Percy, and James together. Thomas was impressed. "You know what?" said Thomas. "Maybe I should pull the very important goods train. And I think you should take it next year, James." "No goods trains until next year," James said excitedly. "For the rest of this year, I'm pulling coaches." "That's good," said Thomas. "For now, I'm going to the quarry." Thomas was happy. He was glad that he decided to pull the very important goods train. "I'm sure Sir Topham Hatt would think pulling the very important goods train is far better than sitting in the sheds doing nothing," said Thomas. Thomas was enjoying himself. "Goods train coming through," he whistled whenever he passed by passenger trains. Soon, Thomas arrived at the quarry. Mavis was surprised. "Hello, Thomas," hooted Mavis. "I thought James was supposed to come to the quarry today." "Well, Mavis," said Thomas, "I wanted to pull the very important goods train this year. James is pulling this train next year." "Did Sir Topham Hatt tell you that?" asked Mavis. Thomas was only making this up, but Mavis believed him. Well, said Thomas, maybe I should push these freight cars into a sleigh topper. How about that? One by one, Thomas shunted his freight cars at the sleigh topper. Okay, Mavis, whistled Thomas. I'm ready to go now. Okay, Thomas, said Mavis. Now remember, if Sir Topham Hatt says no, then you shouldn't do James's work. Don't worry, Mavis, said Thomas. James is pulling passengers for the rest of the year. And he puffed proudly away. Thomas was having a wonderful day. Must get the job done, let's get the job done, he sang. But Thomas didn't know that the rails were rusty. As he sped across the rusty rails, his freight cars of slate came off the track and into the field. Cinders and ashes, cried Thomas. My freight cars are all off the rails. And they were. Thomas knew Mavis was right. James should have taken the very important train. Oh dear, groaned Thomas. What will I do now? Soon, James arrived with the breakdown train. He could see that Thomas was upset. What's the matter, Thomas? Asked James. Were you going too fast? James, said Thomas, I know you don't like pulling goods trains, but can you bring the breakdown train over to my freight cars? I think Percy should take the very important goods train instead of you. Then why didn't you tell Percy earlier? Asked James. Thomas didn't answer, so James moved forward a few inches toward the freight cars. Soon James stopped beside the freight cars and quickly got to work. In no time, all the freight cars were back on the tracks. Thank you, James, said Thomas. Can I pull the very important goods train now? Asked James. No, James, said Thomas. You have visitors to collect from the docks. I need to give the very important goods train to Percy. If you say so, Thomas, whistled James, and he puffed happily away. That afternoon, Thomas arrived at the station. He thought Percy was going to be cross, but he wasn't. Hello, Percy, said Thomas. I'm sorry I tricked you. It's all right, Thomas, said Percy. What can I do to help? Well, said Thomas, since the old branch line is a bit rusty, could you pull the very important goods train on the smooth line? Since we're best friends, said Percy, then yes, Thomas, we will. Soon Percy was coupled to the very important goods train. Soon it was time for Percy to leave. Thanks for sharing, Thomas, whistled Percy. My pleasure, said Thomas happily. James and Henry are great friends on Sodor. James enjoys carrying passengers. And Henry enjoys pulling freight. But whatever the weather, James and Henry always get their jobs done. One day, Sir Topham Hatt arrived. He spoke to the engines. Today is a very special day on Sodor, said Sir Topham Hatt. The railway inspector is coming to visit Sodor. I want you to make sure the railway's running smoothly. James and Henry were very excited. Please, sir, said James, may I take the railway inspector on a tour of the island today? James, said Sir Topham Hatt, today you have to work at the docks. And Henry, I want you to take the goods trains right on time. Yes, sir, said Henry. Right away, sir. But, sir, said James, why do I have to do the real work? Enough complaining, James, said Sir Topham Hatt. I want you two to make sure you are very busy. Deal, said James and Henry together. Are you ready to get busy, James and Henry? Asked Thomas. Definitely, Thomas, said Henry. I would love to be a really useful engine. So, the two engines set off to work. James's first job was to collect some freight cars from the docks. Hurry up, Cranky, said James. I haven't got all day, you know. I don't take orders from mites like you, grumbled Cranky. Wait a minute, said James. Toby's coming. As a matter of fact, Toby arrived. Hello, James, said Toby. Looks like Henry wants to get his job done. Would you like to see how strong he is? No, thank you, Toby, said James. There's a birthday party happening. I must get these presents to the party on time. Then I have to collect the party guests. And James puffed proudly away. Good luck, James, said Toby. Later that day, Henry went to collect his freight cars when the yard manager appeared. These freight cars are very heavy, Henry, said the yard manager. Are you sure you're gonna pull this load? Yes, I am, said Henry. I'm strong enough to pull these cars. His boiler strained, his wheels started to turn, and Henry pulled the cars away. He was glad that he was proving himself to be the strongest engine on Sodor. After Henry went to do his work, James arrived cheerfully at the station to collect his coaches. I'll give the engine some orders, said James. First, Percy pulled up. Percy, said James, Sir Topham Hatt has a very special job for you. He does, said Percy. How exciting. Then, after Percy left, Mavis arrived. Hi, Mavis, said James. Sir Topham Hatt wants you to work at the docks. Really, said Mavis. Thank you, James. Finally, Arthur pulled into the station. Arthur, said James, Sir Topham Hatt has a very important job for you. He wants you to collect the railway inspector. What a wonderful job, James, said Arthur. Thank you. And soon Arthur puffed away. James was having a wonderful day. Well, said James, looks like everyone has their important jobs to do. I must stay here and wait for my passengers. But it wasn't a good day for Henry. He strained up the hill. You can do it, Henry, said his driver. One more effort until you reach the top. I'm doing the best I can, Henry groaned. It wasn't easy hauling heavy things up the hill, but Henry knew he had to try. When James returned from the station, he was glad that he did 2 jobs in one day. The railway inspector should be here soon, James said excitedly. He waited and waited, but the railway inspector didn't come. Soon, James heard a whistle. It was Arthur. He was going so fast that he didn't see James in the way. But James didn't hear Arthur. He was still waiting. "Get out of the way, James!" cried Arthur. His driver slammed on the brake, but Arthur bumped into James. James jumped. "Well, that was unexpected," said James. "Sorry, James," said Arthur. "I didn't know you were here. I'm with the railway inspector now." And soon he was. "I see none of you engines are busy," said the railway inspector. "You are causing a lot of trouble." Even Sir Topham Hatt was on board Arthur's coach. "James," said Sir Topham Hatt, "you did 2 jobs in one day, but Arthur, you need to look where you're going next time." "Sorry, sir," said Arthur sadly. And soon, Henry stopped at the station. He had broken his safety valve. "And as for you, Henry," said Sir Topham Hatt, "you are not supposed to take those cars." "Yes, sir. Sorry, sir," Henry said sadly. "And James," said Sir Topham Hatt, "you need to take Henry to the works now. He has broken his safety valve." "Yes, sir," said James. "Fancy a thoroughbred engine broke his safety valve." "Thoroughbred?" Henry whistled. "James!" I know," said James. "Let's go to the works, Henry. You'll have a new safety valve in no time." When Henry was repaired with a new safety valve, he spoke to James. "I'm sorry that I teased you, James," said Henry. "You know what? We're both strongest engines." "But you did learn your lesson, Henry," said James, "and I'm proud of you. What do you say? Let's pull the express." "Great idea, James," said Henry. "I'll meet you at the station." And so, the two friends set off to collect the express coaches. One beautiful day, the engines were excited that Spencer was coming for a visit. Except Gordon. "Pah," said Gordon. "I don't trust Spencer. He's always causing me trouble." "Don't be silly, Gordon," laughed Thomas. "The reason why Spencer is coming to Sodor is because he set a new record." "What record?" grumbled Gordon. "You'll see," laughed Percy. "Spencer will tell you the next time he sees you. Right now, he's gonna speed past the station." Percy was right. Seconds later, Spencer thundered past the station. "Spencer set a new record," said Gordon. "Well then, I must go talk to him." Gordon arrived at the shunting yard, where Spencer was taking on water. "Hello, Gordon," said Spencer. "How you doing?" This made Gordon cross. "What on Sodor are you doing, Spencer?" "Well, didn't you know?" said Spencer. "Today, I've set a new record, and tomorrow, Sir Topham Hatt has given me a reward." "What reward?" asked Gordon. "I am to take the Railway Society across the island," said Spencer. "That's my reward." "Taking the Railway Society is everyone's job," said Gordon.
Now I don't have time to chat with you, Spencer. I must be back to pulling the express. And he puffed angrily away.
That evening, Gordon pulled into the station where James was taking on passengers. "I have some news for you, Gordon," said James. "Spencer's taking your coaches tomorrow so he can collect the Railway Society. There's no room for enough Railway Societies in one coach, you know."
Gordon was horrified. "Spencer's taking my express coaches?" said Gordon.
"Don't worry, Gordon," chuckled James. "It's only for one day. Then you can have your express after Spencer goes back to the mainland." And James puffed proudly away. Gordon was still not happy.
"I'll show Spencer how much I'm more better than him," said Gordon.
And he puffed crossly away. Gordon was exhausted after he returned the express coaches to the carriage yard. But when Gordon arrived at Tidmouth Sheds, he discovered that Spencer was in his berth.
"Spencer," said Gordon, "what are you doing?"
"Hello, Gordon," said Spencer. "I decided to have a sleepover at Tidmouth Sheds, so the sheds are full now. I'm afraid you have to sleep somewhere else, Gordon." Gordon was more upset than ever.
"First you're going to steal my express coaches, and now you stole my place at Tidmouth Sheds."
"Don't worry, Gordon," said James. "It's not stealing. He's sharing your work." Before Gordon could get easily more scared, he decided to sleep somewhere else. So he puffed nervously away. Soon, Gordon arrived at the smelter's yard. There was Diesel coming out of the smelting shed. He was surprised to see Gordon. "Hello, Gordon," said Diesel. "What can I do for you?"
"Diesel," said Gordon, "is there a place where I can sleep tonight? Spencer took my place at Tidmouth Sheds."
"Well," said Diesel, "you can sleep at the workman's repair tent near the shed. Follow me, Gordon." So Diesel led Gordon all the way to the tent. Soon, Gordon and Diesel arrived at the workman's repair tent. Gordon was worried. "Good night, Gordon," said Diesel. "I'm sure Spencer will be back at the mainland tomorrow morning." And he oiled away. But Gordon was worried.
"What if Spencer took my express train forever?" said Gordon, "and Sir Topham Hatt is sure to scrap me." His driver and fireman even slept inside his cab. But Gordon didn't sleep. He worried all night long. The next day, Gordon made the decision. "If Spencer wants to pull my express coaches," said Gordon, "then I have to go to the carriage shed first." And Gordon steamed off to the coaling plant. Soon, Gordon arrived at the coal hopper. His tender was soon loaded with coal, but then the hopper was empty. "Sorry, Gordon," said Percy. "This is the last lump of coal we have today. There won't be any more coal until the afternoon." "Puh," said Gordon. "I would love to see Spencer beat my record without any coal."
And he chuffed proudly away. When Spencer arrived at the coaling plant, Percy had bad news. "I'm sorry, Spencer," said Percy. "There's no coal left. Another shipment of coal won't get here until the afternoon."
"Oh, bother," said Spencer. "Now I'll never show the Railway Society without any coal."
And Spencer steamed sadly away. Spencer was showing the Railway Society many beautiful places.
Spencer was happy to be pulling Gordon's coaches for one day.
Soon, Spencer raced down the hill. But then there was trouble. As Spencer got to the bottom of the hill, he went slower and slower, and suddenly, he stopped.
"What happened?" cried Spencer.
"Your coal tender is empty," said Spencer's driver. "We'll have to wait for help." But Spencer didn't know what to do. Soon, Gordon arrived. He was surprised that Spencer ran out of coal.
"Hello, Spencer," said Gordon. "I've heard you've run out of coal."
"It's not funny, Gordon," said Spencer. "The reason why I took your coaches is because there's not enough room for a railway society in one coach." Then Gordon had an idea.
"Maybe I can take the Railway Society until you get more coal,"
said Gordon proudly. "Good idea, Gordon," said Spencer. "Thank you." So Gordon shunted Spencer onto the other line, and Gordon puffed onto Spencer's line. Soon, Gordon was coupled to his coaches, and Gordon continued the tour of the island with the Railway Society.
"Goodbye, Spencer,"
whistled Gordon as he puffed grandly away. Soon, Edward, the blue engine, collected some coal from the mainland, and he was on his way to help Spencer. Even Edward has heard that Spencer ran out of coal. Soon, Edward could see Spencer in the distance. "Hello, Spencer," said Edward. "I've brought some fresh coal from the mainland, and I heard you've run out of coal." Spencer was happy. "Thank you, Edward," said Spencer. In no time at all, Spencer's tender was refilled with coal, and Spencer puffed happily away. "Now you can go back to the mainland with plenty of coal," called Edward. At the station, Spencer came to apologize to Gordon. "Hello, Gordon," said Spencer.
"Spencer," said Gordon, "I'm sorry that I was rude to you."
"And I'm sorry I took your coaches," said Spencer.
"Anyway," said Gordon, "we're friends now. Maybe we should have a race."
"A race?" said Spencer. "Great idea, Gordon." And so, the two friends puffed happily away.